Welcome back to the last day of this video. As you can see, there's not a lot of parts left. There's the gearbox, the throwout bearing, the crossmember mount, the drive shaft and the wiring, and that's pretty much it. So today's video, going to do the throwout bearing. Hopefully a few of the guys are coming around, which will help to lift the gearbox up and put it into the car, and then if we have time, the drive shaft as well. This weekend's just gone so quickly. We smashed out so much with the help of Shahan and Rocco and Michael yesterday. So anyway, I'm going to get started on this throwout bearing. Okay, so the throwout bearing's a pretty simple setup. This essentially bolts onto the transmission like this, and then you have the actual release bearing itself threads onto here, and you spin it around until you get to the right gap. So what I mean by the right gap is this bearing here is going to press out against the pressure plates, and you want a little bit of a gap in there, about 4 mils in between this face and the pressure plates when this is fully flat against here. So the reason why you want that is because as the clutch wears, it starts to press back a little bit. So you want to have that little bit of gap there so that when the clutch wears and expands, you don't have it pressing hard against here and then you get the clutch slipping. So that's why I want that, but you don't want too much gap, otherwise you have to press this bearing out so far just to reach the pressure plate that you might actually go overstroke it and the bearing will come out, and that's pretty bad. So one thing I'm going to do with this, these lines here, even though they're braided steel, when they come out through, there's not enough room to come out through these holes up here, so you got to come up through here. And just over time, like rubbing on the edge of here and also on the bell housing edge, might wear away at this braided steel. So I thought it's probably a good idea to just get some line, slice it up and wrap it over these lines just to protect them a little bit. That's what Joel Granis recommends anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that because this was like a couple of bucks worth of line. Okay, so just finished up with the hydraulic bearing here, wrap the lines up in just some fuel line. This top line will be my bleeder, and this will be the feed line. This one here, the bottom one. Chucked a little bit of blue Loctite on this bolt. Doesn't need much to torque into it, but just so that it doesn't back out. I've done the measurements to allow the appropriate 4 mil gap. So you're basically measuring from the edge of the pressure plate to the flat of the bell housing, which is also the same as this side here. And then you want to minus about 4 mils to leave a tiny 4 mil gap between this and the pressure plates, so that you don't get clutch slipping when the clutch wears. How's that? Alright, Mono, you're going to have to pull that, or unless you guys want to rip that, after you lift that gearbox, someone's going to have to pull that rollie out. Oh, yeah. And then I'll try and slide this under.
Okay. Alright. Alright, one. Oh, hang on. Oh, another.
Watch the jacks too. You don't want to hit those levers.
So just be careful of the handles and shit. Yeah. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Whose hand am I
Oh!
Yes. Is that under?
Yeah. It's under. We'll just have to shuffle it on a bit more balanced.
What
are you doing?
There's a level of friendship with that.
Okay, so once we're through both clutch discs, which we should be able to feel, he recommends 2 of the easy side bolts. Get them started, don't do them up, but just get them started so that to get it into the pilot bearing right up the front, it'll be a bit easier if it's not moving. Like the bolts will kind of line up a bit. Yeah. So but
just do finger tight, like.
Oh, just start threading them. Yeah. But he says you don't want to be pulling the gearbox in by the bolts.
Yeah, no. Jack her up.
Alright, we're going up.
What's the best way to lift this on our back? I'm guessing.
No, where does Guardia at the moment?
There's 3 of you enough?
This block of wood will help you as well, so
Yeah,
just
that
remember.
should just swivel that wood.
Who said fuck mate?
The bed thing back down.
Yeah, take it down, because you're going to knock here.
We're gonna move it across towards.
You have to move it, yeah, towards Pap.
Oh, jeez.
It's windy.
Let's stop. Let's go again.
Whoa!
Alright, up she goes.
You like that? You like that? You like that, Leo? You like when I touch your hammer? Did you get all that? Beautiful.
Wait, if we
Little
lift this and pull
pass,
this, push this closer towards them, would that be better?
Towards
push
that.
towards what?
Towards Ben, if we pull, like lift it up and push this towards Ben,
Push what towards me?
this transmission.
Well, that's what we're trying to do.
Well, when we lift this up, lift this up and move the jack.
What were you
Oh, move it back.
Yeah, move the jack forward a bit.
Mono's been pulling against us.
She's stiff, mate. Feels like fucking shutting up.
You wanna drop this back down one, and then
Yeah.
and then when we lift it,
Yeah, we can
try
do
and
it at a
push it in.
different height.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
3, 2, 1.
Push.
Push.
Really?
So you should be able to drop it back.
Oh yeah! Oh, that was good as. How satisfying was that?
Push up, please. Yeah, keep it hold.
Keep it hold
up.
Oh yeah.
There we go, Ben. Here's your little...
There you go.
No, I can do that. Just give me enough else to move. Yeah, it'd be nice if that big fucking... Oh, wow. Yeah, you twist that, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good day, Bill. Yeah, mate. So is this the last bit that goes underneath?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Got to do the wiring still, which will be under that side. But in
It's all
terms of
plugs. Like big mechanical parts?
yes, this is the last.
fucking
last
oath.
piece, yeah.
So after the wiring, does that mean you can chuck the battery in and
Start her up.
start her up?
Yeah. Well, he's got to bleed.
Got to bleed the clutch.
Yeah.
Fill it with oil.
Yeah.
We're making it happen today. We're making it happen. Where's Dave? Get the auto left here. You do all your wiring. Oh, I'll call him right now.
What's going on?
Hey mate, how's it going?
Yeah, good.
Good. What do you? Yeah, good. What are you up to? We need some. We need an auto elect to get around here.
What's the issue?
There's no issue, but we're coming up to the wiring part of the whole process. So we're wanting to get this beast up and running. So we're just wondering if you were free.
I can see what I can do.
Yes, Dave.
All right.
Yeah, move your whip.
You're alright.
Okay, hold on. I want to get. Okay, so drive shaft is in. Got all those bolts done. Some of the other boys have gone home. They've had to leave, but big thanks to them for coming and helping get this all done. Again, like yesterday, so much more got done today than I thought was going to get done. I have hooked up the clutch line to the master cylinder. That's now all connected up, ready to be filled and bled. And then basically the last step is what these guys are checking out now, which is the wiring. So just splicing into the factory harness at a couple of points for the reverse lights, the reverse lockout, I think, and the speed signal, and that's pretty much it. After that point, oil in the gearbox and it should be pretty much ready to go. Is it hot enough?
Yeah. Nice. American.
Okay, so I'm just in the car here and I've got the little sealed boot just off for the time being. So basically this goes on here, whoops, and then that goes onto that one, and then the shifter bolts up top like that. So quick update, we've done most of the wiring underneath the car, but we've hit a snag with the power. We can't find a constant 12 volt power with engine on, with the key in the engine on position. So we're trying to look at where we can tap into somewhere in the engine bay that's 12 volts when the engine is on, and maybe run a wire down and plug in that way. So just kind of wrapping up with the build now, not a lot left to go. The wiring has now been done. It's still kind of loose hanging down in here, but it's all tapped in, which is good. For power, I tapped into the igniter box, this pinout 2 with the black and orange wire is a plus 12 volts to the battery, but it's only switched on with the ignition in the key in the on position. Then ran that down through there. I still have to tidy all of that up, but the wiring is done. The clutch, I've still got issues. There's still air in the system and not entirely sure why I can't get it out using the conventional bleeding methods. I may end up having to buy a pressure bleeder, but I kind of don't want to do that because they're like $100 and something, and I'm only going to do this once really. But before I get onto that, I'm basically going to start putting the interior back together, putting all the center console in, getting all of this wiring done, hooking up the boost gauge, and getting this ready, which I'll need to short together to start the car. I do have a clutch switch, but for whatever reason it's a push to close, not a push to open switch, which I'm not sure why they would make it like that, but I'm either going to have to open up the switch and try and figure out if there's a way I can just easily swap it over to a push to open switch, or build my own circuit with a transistor to make kind of like an electronic switch that's the inverse of the push to close switch. But we'll see how we go with that one, because I'm not too worried. I don't use cruise control that much, so if need be I can just leave those two wires twisted and shorted together, and that'll allow me to start and drive the car. I just won't have cruise control. Okay, so interior is mostly back in except for the driver's seat, and it's looking pretty good. Got all the wiring back in, all tucked in. This TRC button's just kind of sitting here though. It's kind of loose, but it does work. I can press it and it is out of the way. I will find a better spot at some point, but for now that's probably fine to just sit there. And I was a little concerned that this shifter would come up too high, but I actually really like where it's sitting. It's at a very good height. Okay, so we're going to fill up the gearbox with oil. We've just got a hose that we're running up to the engine bay, and then underneath here I've just got that going into the fill hole, and it's on an upward angle, so it should just all nicely flow in there. I'm pretty sure this is just fill until it starts coming out the top, so this method we will get a little bit of spillage, but it should be okay still. Okay, the final steps are pretty much here. The clutch, I don't know why it didn't work last time, but we bled it in a slightly different technique. I think there was air coming back in when we were pressing it back out, so we needed to open and close it much quicker rather than open it, let the fluid drain out, then close it. I think that was letting air back into the system. The clutch is ready to go, and just a little tester of that to show you. Press it in, it's quite heavy, and it springs back, which is nice and good. Okay, so the car is basically done. I think I've almost got it at a driving stage, so I think it's time to start it up, put it in gear and see if the wheels move. This may be a little loud because the exhaust still isn't on, but should be able to test the car. Bit hard to film that from inside the car, but it looks like the gearbox is all working, the wheels are spinning. It is an open diff still, so there wasn't a lot of spinning on that wheel before the other wheel started spinning. That's what you saw there. But other than that, I just have to fix up the speedo and she's ready to drive. Okay, so I finished tidying up the wiring. Certainly not the best job, but I've just taped over all the plugs and zip tied it all up there and put some kind of hard plastic loom over some of the smaller wires just to try and protect them a little bit. You can see there's a bit of wiggle room here, but it's certainly not going anywhere, so that's fine. And I've zip tied these lines together and just have got them out of the way here a little bit, and they're pretty snug there too. Okay, so the car is ready for its maiden voyage. I can't drive a manual yet, so I've got one of my friends coming over and he's going to drive us to a quiet back street area, hopefully, and I'll get some practice for the first time in a manual. Also, it's not official until the stickers are on. Okay, so we're in the car.
Let's roll.
Mr. Shooms is driving us to a quiet location where we can...
You see where it like catches on the clutch. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, door. Also, it'll come up with an ECT error. Don't worry about that. There's no water box, so...
Your gas pedal is really sensitive.
Really?
Yeah.
You should try the Mark II. Mark II's
It's like
this is dead.
This is fucking sensitive as fuck, dude.
But she's truly a manual now.
It's already just so much better.
Yeah. Okay, so we're here on this kind of quiet industrial road, ready for the first drive.
Let's go, baby. It's pretty high, the clutch. So, one thing, when you're shifting, first and second, third and fourth, up and down, fifth and sixth. Okay. Like it'll make life a lot easier. Yeah, so it's a bit weird because your gears are so long. I'd say you never really want to go into first.
Yeah, I feel like normally you wouldn't.
Yeah, but I think yours, I think you might need to.
I think it goes to 80 Ks at red line.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to. Just when you go into first, you want to be going like literally as slow as possible, like when to put it into gear. Because if you're going even like 10 Ks, it's not going to want to go in.
Don't want to stall it in second, that's all.
You can second gear starts too, possibly.
So what, you're in a right here?
You can go left.
Left just goes, it's like a small loop.
Is it?
Yeah.
You sure?
Pretty sure.
I thought you were about to start there for a second. Yeah, I'd say do a Dorset run, to be honest.
You think so?
I know you're scared, but trust me, it's something like...
It's more just there's a bit of traffic. I don't want to stop up and...
Hey, you stall.
Alright.
At least they'll hear that you stalled. I'd say do a Yui at you know the left turn into Rocco's, past the traffic light.
No.
I'll tell you when.
Trying to be too quick.
Yeah. Is your heart beating?
I saw that BMW come up behind me and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so stay fast to the Yui. Give it a bit of gas in a second. Nice. My man's on the 80 k's an hour.
Moving up.
Time to get a head unit. Play some music.
Oh, I can do it on this.
Yeah.
I generally don't.
I don't know how you guys have done it. I guess for a weekender,
I'm sure
you want to hear the whole car. Yeah, that's fair enough. Oh.
That's probably going to be the end of the video, actually. Had the gearbox install and first drives. So Sean's just going to drive me back home because I still don't think I'm super confident to go through all that traffic yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you just went through traffic, so
Yeah,
and
and then-
stalled.
That's true.
Yeah.
Next videos, hopefully after the braking period, and hopefully I know how to drive it properly, and we can get some proper rips. and loops. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the next one.